Sound familiar? We're making the onion bronchial broth. That's right. You know that sound. You hear it all winter long from everybody. And you hear it in the summer too. And in the spring, you hear it too. Everybody's coughing their guts out. We're making the onion bronchial broth right out of, guess what? Life Changing Foods Expanded Edition. Here we are, page 458. There it is, onion bronchial broth. Check this out, though, okay, you guys? This isn't the book you're going to get. When you pre-order it and you get the book when it comes, you're going to get the book. 600-page, big old book, like an incredible Bible with tons of information in there. This is my manuscript right here. And by the way, I'm not sick with a cough or anything like that of the sort. But yeah, you hear that cough everywhere. Everywhere you go, doesn't matter what's going on, you guys. You just hear it. You guys know it well, right? I mean, heck, everybody gets the flu. They get the norovirus. They get the C. They get the flu. They get the RSV. They get the flu. And on it goes. Or they get what they say is a cold, or my favorite of all, my favorite of all, I got allergies. Oh, you do? You sure that's what it is? Yeah. I just got allergies. They're really bad. You sure those are allergies? Or are you catching the flu every 3 months and it's lingering? All the congestion is lingering. And then it moves into this thing where you're not feeling that sick, but you're coughing. Then it dies down a little bit, still in your sinuses, still everywhere. And then you get the flu again. And you think you have the allergies again. Yeah, there are people that have allergies. They do have allergies. That's legit. I'm not saying it's not. But 80% of the people that say they got allergies or it's their allergies is really dealing with a flu. Period. It's a flu. That's the reality of what it is. And they just walk around, and every 3 months they catch the next one. They catch the next one and the next one and the next one. And guess what? Right now, we're in late August. You start moving into September, you're going to see it. Crap's going to be flying. People are going to be sick. It's going to be the same old crap and even worse this year. And every year I say it and I call it out. It's going to be a bad year. It is. And then I call it out. It's going to be a worse year. And it's going to be. Just letting everybody know. So what are we making right here, right out of Life Changing Foods? Onion bronchial broth. What a recipe. Here it is right in front of me. I'm excited. We're talking about onions today. Onions. What do I got in front of me? Onions, red onions, right? I got yellow onions, and I got a sweet onion in here too. I think a couple of them anyway. And you can use the real onions that are really potent, like the yellow onions, or a white onion that's really potent and strong, or red onion, because you're going to cook them down. You're going to make the broth, right? I know a lot of people can't eat a piece of raw onion, especially when it's not the sweet onions, when it's, much more of a more difficult onion to take down, which is a yellow onion. So we're in it right now. I got a pot on the stove, but I want to talk about this real quick. Organic Krush, you guys. The medical medium menu is in there right now. Organic Krush. That's right. New York, 5 locations. They have the menu, the medical medium menu. Okay, they got the liver rescue smoothie. How insane is that? Liver rescue salad is there. Asparagus, apple, radish, arugula, the orange vinaigrette. Come on, get to Organic Krush and experience it. They got the apricot bites, the cowboy caviar salad with the cilantro, black beans, a little bit of the avocado in there too. They got the HMDS. They got the heavy metal detox smoothie. And it's more than that. More than that. Think about it right now. Organic Krush, they have the most medicinal menu there is out there in any restaurant you can find out there, any place to eat, any grocery store, all that serves food, you name it. You can go order food in any grocery store that makes food in the deli section. This is the real deal. This is medicinal food that they harbor there, that they make there, that they're making fresh. Medicinal food in Organic Krush, the medical medium menu. No garbage, no soy, no garbage, no corn, no garbage, no high intense salt, no bad oils, right? All that stuff gone. No natural flavors, no MSG, all just not even there. A clean menu that helps you heal. Excuse me, I'm in Organic Krush right now. Can I get a heavy metal detox smoothie? Because when I drink that, I'm going to get metals out of my brain and out of my body. Think about that. How incredible that. I'm at Organic Krush right now. Can I get a liver rescue smoothie? That's right, because I'm going to clean up my liver. I'm going to rescue it. I'm going to bring it back so it can renew cells, so it can come back to life. Excuse me, I'm at Organic Krush right now. I can get the liver rescue salad. How insane is this? It's in there. If you're in New York, if you're in Connecticut, get to New York. If you're in New Hampshire, get to New York. If you're in Maine, get to New York. Get there, try it out. If you're somewhere in North Carolina, if you're in Ohio, get across it. If you're in Pennsylvania, get to New York, experience it. I'm excited. And that leads me to the next thing really quick before we make the onion bronchial broth, is that there's an event. Okay? An event is going to be at Organic Krush. I'm going to be there for a meet and greet. How are you? I'm going to meet and greet you there. It's going to be very exciting. It's going to be awesome. And I'm going to be doing the Light Blast. This event is called the Light Blast event party, okay? Light Blast party. Why not? We're going to do it. And it's going to be intense because where we're going to be, that's right, it's going to be an exciting place. It's an exciting area on the planet. I'm going to be pumped. I'm going to be excited. We're going to do some intense light blasts. And I'm not trying to say too much, yet. But this is a light blast party, which means we're going to try to make those light blasts as powerful and as many as possible. It's exciting. But listen, get on my email list so I can email the link so you can then register to get a ticket at Organic Krush for the Light Blast party. Just if you get a chance. You guys go to medicalmedium.com, check it out. Look, check it out. Go to the newsletter, boom, get on the newsletter. Now you can actually receive the newsletter saying, now's the time, boom. And it's going to be August 28th. August 28th, you're going to know. Okay, you're going to know. Here's the link, boom. Try to get a ticket. I'm going to be there at Organic Krush, but back to this though, back to, not just the event. Organic Krush is going to have this food in there. They care about people who need healing. They care about people who are sick. They care about the chronically ill. They want to have the medical medium menu in there for a reason. It's a mission. It's more than just, healthy food. Yeah, well, no, we have healthy food here. Just like restaurants that have healthy food. Yeah, you can get a salad here. You can get healthy food. It's way beyond that. This is the medical medium tools, the medical medium recipes, liver rescue salad. The HMDS, the liver rescue smoothie. It's all of it, okay? And it's there now. Get there. I just want to tell everybody because seriously, it's incredible because they care. They want people better. They want people to experience health, good health. Think about it. When you're there and you're eating that food, you're recovering. You're bettering yourself. You're healing internally with this kind of food. Well, that's what this food does. People know that who have been in it, in medical medium, they know that. So, exactly. And maybe somebody will walk in there that doesn't know the medical medium stuff, doesn't know medical medium. Maybe somebody will walk in there and be like, whoa, I'll get an HMDS. And they're going to drink it. And then boom, the healing starts happening. I'll get a liver rescue salad. My liver needs rescuing. It's that healing for anybody, okay? So anyway, that is awesome. Let's get into it. Let's start making the onion bronchial broth. How many of you guys tried the onion bronchial broth? Have you tried it? Have you made it? It's a medical medium tool. You're here in Georgia. Shannon, thanks for being here. Amazing. I see you guys. I see all the comments coming up. This is amazing. The Wild Blueberry Babe, good to see you. Everybody's coming up there. Love that broth. Is it okay to make a big batch and freeze some, or does it lose effectiveness? Thanks. Memmy Stubbs. Yes, you can make a big batch and you can freeze it. I'm fine with that. I think that's great. It will work. It will be healing. It'll be helpful. Then you can defrost it and so forth. That would be great. Jackie there. I have a huge bronchial batch that I just made. What? How did that happen? And we're doing it today? I got hit with the flu right after coming home from LA travel. Thank you, AW and SOC, for these gems. You are welcome. Thanks for doing that. Thanks for, bringing this into your life. Now, people like radishes, they don't like radishes. People like onions, they don't like onions. People like celery, they don't like celery. Put it all together, you might like it when it's all together in this broth. This broth is really medicinal. I mean, I kid around a lot and I joke around a lot about a lot of different things. I stay lighthearted. But no joke, I mean, this broth is highly medicinal. This is not a joke. This is a healing food, healing tool. That's what this broth is, okay? And I think I'll start making it now, then we'll talk about the power of onions, and I'll read some comments and so forth. So let's do this. I'm just gonna put this down for a minute. I will put it over here, if you guys don't mind, all right? Let me get a knife out. See what kind of knife we want. Ooh. See, we've got a little paring knife right there. We got another knife here, all right? Let's start out with some onions. Look, I'm gonna put a lot of onions in here. The recipe calls for 4 cups of onion, all right? So, but I'm gonna put, a decent amount of onion here. I'm making a pretty big one, okay? Now look, I do this right here. A lot of people keep the skins in. They do. A lot of people say, hey, look, leave the skins in. The problem is with the skins is once they dry, they don't necessarily soften up. And if they don't soften up, someone's gonna be like, dealing with a skin, like in their bite of food or in their broth or anything like that. You can strain this broth. You can keep it also everything in it if you cook it soft enough. Keep that in mind. So let's just start getting some onions done really quick if you don't mind, okay? Roughly chopped. You don't have to be like that. That's it, roughly chopped. How about that? I mean, seriously, you don't have to make a big deal and chop and chop and chop and chop. I usually chop really quick, but I'm going a little bit slower right now because I want to get warmed up. Last thing I want to do is chop my finger in front of a live audience. I know that people don't do a lot of things live. I do it live. Got to be more careful. Somebody cuts their finger off, they can just edit that out or something like that. With me, okay? So, you take my time a little bit. But yeah, so we're chopping up some onions right here. Okay, roughly chopped. There you go. You don't have to do anything more crazier than that, right? I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna do a red, if you guys are okay with that. Let me grab a red. Okay. I'm glad that didn't go down on the floor. That would be so embarrassing. I'd be embarrassed. Yeah. But would I? Would I really be embarrassed? I don't know. I don't think so. I'll just be like, wow, that didn't land right. Okay, do some chopping right here. Uh-oh. Crap. Forgot about that. Yep. Doing a little bit quicker now and a faster chop because you know why? I'm crying right now. Woo! Those onions. Woo, woo, woo. They get you. Putting the burner on. Let's get that sucker hot. I'm crying right now. All right, let's put a little bit more onion in here. I'm going to do another red. Okay. I take the ends off. I like doing that. You can, like salvage anything you want from the onion. You can try to just take off the skins. Just the skins a little bit. Okay. Here we are, okay? All right. Man. These guys got my eyes good, gotta say. So I'm going a little quicker. because I want to move away from the onions. God, baby Jesus, I swear. Holy baby Jesus on that. The eyes are burning. All right. So what I'm going to do is get some onions in here. I'm going to do it like this for a little bit. Let's get some onions over there. Oh, nice. Check that out. Right? This is going to really help. All right. There we go. Let's scoop up these onions. My nose is running now. Man, oh man. Got some tears running down my eyes. Let's get a utensil. All right. What I'm doing is just giving these a real like light saute kind of thing. Okay? I'm not adding water yet. You can do it any way you want. You can put the water in there. You can do it in any way you wish. I mean, the recipe calls for just put the water in along with everything else. Let's do some radishes now. This over a little bit. All right. There we go. We got some radishes, okay? I'm leaving the tiny roots on because this is a broth, is what I'm doing. You don't have to chop these up really small either. All right. I forgot about it. If you guys don't mind, how's the comments going? I wish I could see them right now. I got tears in my eyes. Yeah, so this broth is really potent. All right, let's keep on chopping them up. I get a lot of tips usually. It's crazy. I get a lot of tips. See them in comments and stuff. It's like, AW, you're chopping wrong. I don't like your style. You're gonna cut yourself. So glad I don't wear mascara. I'm cutting this with my eyes completely closed now at this point. There you go. Let's get some of these in here. Hold on, excuse me. I gotta say, those onions got me so good. I don't think I've ever cried this hard ever for an onion. Oh, crap. I don't have water in here, so I don't want to burn these onions either. But they're cooking down good. I think I'm going to get some water in them now. There we go. They're not burnt. They're just cooking down. Pop some water in here. Decent amount. There you go. I'm making kind of a big one, a bigger broth here. Let's get some radishes cut up. You can probably roughly chop them too, but I'm cutting them up pretty good because in the radish department, right? You can cut them just in half and throw it in there. You can also chop it up like this. A lot of medicine's gonna come out of these babies. You can do a purple radish if you want as well. Just don't be afraid. You can do that. I'm not a big daikon radish fan, but they're good too. They're healthy for you. Different radishes have different flavors. All right, we're almost there on the radishes. There we go. Okay, back to this. A lot of people give me tips. They don't like the way I cut. They don't like the way I chop. Okay, let's get some of these in here. I happen to like the way I chop. I happen to like personally the way I cut stuff on the board. Okay, feels good to me. I've had a lot of years of experience. It's easy to, have an injury when you're, chefs do it all the time in restaurants. That's why you see chefs wearing a lot of gloves. Because, Band-Aids aren't cutting it. So they gotta, there we go. And a lot of chefs use black gloves. So it kind of hides everything underneath too if they got a lot of wounds. There we go. All right, so back to the flu, back to why we're doing this. You don't have to just have the flu. You can have lungs that need help. You could be using this for lungs that need help. How about that? All right. It's a very sharp knife. There we go. Thank God I don't wear eyeliner. All right. Because if I was wearing eyeliner, I think it would have been trashed by those onions, something fierce. All right, so that's in there. We got the radishes in there. I could go on and on about the radish healing powers. You put raw radishes and radish greens in your salad every single day. Amazing, Rachel, incredible. All right, so let's do some celery now in here. Boom. How's that? Now, am I boring you? All right, a little bit more celery here. I'm sorry if I'm boring you. Woo! Right. Get that in there. We have now completed this. Wow. Put whatever scraps we got in here. We're going to drop that in there too, okay? Some scraps. And I'm going to clean off the knife. Right in there. All right. Amazing. The Compassion Diary says, you're not boring us. Okay, so I'm going to get this to a boil. I'm going to put the lid on too after the boil. I'm going to bring it down to a simmer. Right now I got it on high. Okay? That's right. So right now it's on high. And we're going to just take it to a boil. I'll pop the lid on it just to get it to a boil faster. But you got to watch it. You know how it works. You're excited about making this broth? That makes me so happy. Seriously. Doesn't take much to make me happy. Fantastic. Those onions kicked my ass. That's what you said? That's a great comment because it's true. It's true. They really did kick my ass for real. All right, you guys. We're going to have some fun. Let's get that to a boil. Read some comments really quick if you don't mind. Whoa. Can you use black radishes? You can. Black radishes is a whole nother beast. They're highly medicinal as well. So you're welcome to use those if you want. I'm not a big fan of black radishes for a lot of reasons. They're hard to serve people. You put them in salads. It's hard to give, hard to serve people those. They're really woody. Sometimes they get a shell on them, but they're highly medicinal. So I use black radishes myself personally. I do. I have black radishes I talk about, and I'm a fan of them. But what I'm saying is, when you have people come over and you're making a salad, you might want to keep the black radish out of the salad and put the red radish in. It's a softer radish most of the time. It's not so chewy. Some reason they harvest the black radishes a little later sometimes, and it gets a woody outside shell, but still an amazing radish and highly medicinal. All right. Love that broth. Is it okay to make a big batch, freeze some? Yep, definitely. Anybody who's asking me that, amazing. All right, great. Over there, okay, on IG. How long do you let it cook for? It all depends where you are. High altitude, low altitude. Keep that in mind. West Coast, East Coast, or around the world. What what the climate is around you, like environment, all that matters. But I mean, cook it for 45 minutes. Simmer it for 45 minutes. It's about to take a boil soon. But you may find in the water you're using too, the water you're using can also change the fact that if it's cooked enough or it's cooking, plenty fast. All these variables that happen when you're cooking something. 45 minutes, give or take. I want to cook it till it's soft is what I want to do. I want to make this broth, cook it till it's soft. Gene over there, added wild blueberry juice to my HMDS and haven't had a migraine in about 5 months. What? See, that's a result. Those are results. People get results. I'm 6 years into medical medium. Incredible. Thank you for being here. So grateful for SOC, AW. I'm honored. Looks amazing. It's looking great, isn't it? Let's get it to a boil soon, and then we're going to talk a little longer. Then I'm going to knock it down to a simmer. The broth is a lifesaver, educating myself. Analia says, what do you recommend for someone with Hashimoto, sluggish liver, mold toxicity, and chronic fatigue? I am new to the medical medium world and have done 2 369 cleanses. 369 cleanses are really healing, really powerful. You can do the advanced 369 if your doctor is happy with that. And then you can you can look in the book and just chronic fatigue alone. So if you're dealing with any kind of chronic fatigue, take a look in the book. Go to Medical Medium Book 1 and look for chronic fatigue syndrome or brain saver. Get the information you need. There's protocols. Bring those protocols to your doctor. See what your doctor says. But there are answers for all of those things, including mold toxicity. A lot of people don't realize mold toxicity is kind of, if they're exposed to mold, it brings their immune system down, but then something else comes out and gets them. That's how it works. So you knock your immune system down with mold. It's one of those things. Not your fault. You get exposed to it, and then the Epstein bars come up and create chronic fatigue syndrome. And then, the liver gets stagnant and sluggish. And then the adrenals start to get pretty beat up and tore up. And the next thing you know you're just hurting. You got all these different symptoms and conditions. And then they're neurological because you got the Epstein-Barr virus. The Epstein-Barr is releasing neurotoxins. No one's teaching you out there how to kill off your Epstein-Barr because they don't even know it's the Epstein-Barr. And you're looking around and you're trying to get help, and then they'll tell you it's something else. Oh, it's mold, it's this, it's Lyme, it's that. It's really rough. When you're out there with chronic illness, it's rough. Getting grounded into the medical medium information by far gets the result, especially with mystery chronic illness, because that's what it is. Got fatigue, nobody really knows why. You go to one doctor, it's like your microbiome, it's your microbiome, that's why you're sick. That's why you got all these different symptoms and conditions and you're neurologically sick and everything else. It's the microbiome. It's not the microbiome. That's not what it is. You got a viral infection. That's what it is, a viral infection. And that's what happens to people every day out there. It really is. Okay, we're at a boil. There we go. Want to take a look, you guys? It's at a boil right now. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. My nose is still running from those onions. Amazing. Think about that. Bring it down to a simmer. I'm going to drop it down to, say, the number 2 or 3 on there. I'll bring it down. Now I have my onion bronchial broth simmering. It's there. It's a healing tool. It's a healing weapon against the crap that's out there. Yeah, it's a big deal. Okay, you know? The onion bronchial broth is good for kids. It's good for adults. It's good for anybody, without a doubt. But, you know, ask your pediatrician. Be like, can my child do the onion bronchial broth? See what your pediatrician says. Fantastic. Let's talk about onions a little bit. Let's get into it. I'm reading comments. I'm having a good time. Are you guys having a good time? I'm in the onion bronchial broth right here. Let's talk about onions too. We're going to go a little bit into that. It's good for COPD. Yes, it is. Rena, 777. Good for COPD, okay? Keep that in mind. Over there on IG, I'm seeing a lot of different comments right there. Okay, shamrocks and sunflowers over there on IG. This broth healed my neighbor's horrible lung virus when nothing else was helping. It's amazing. And the pink color from the red onions right there. From the red onions, pink color, and the radishes. Put both of those together and you get a nice color right there. I'm going to bring these onions back a little bit, give you guys a play-by-play. I'm going to put that right there so you can see some radishes. Fantastic. All right. Get into it a little bit. Okay. Let's talk about what onions are good for, okay? Asthma. That's right, asthma. Okay? Bone cancer, breast cancer, chronic pulmonary disease. Think about that right there. Onions are good for chronic pulmonary disease, COPD, colds. There are no colds, but I use colds purposely in here because people don't believe they have the flu. They think they have a cold, unless that flu hits them so hard, knocks them so hard off their butt, right? Where they're like down for 2 straight weeks, fever, everything. Then they're like, well, I got the flu, okay? Other than that, if they don't get that bad, they think they just have a cold. They don't have a cold. There are no colds. There are no colds anymore. Colds are gone. There are no colds. They're just engineered, you know, weaponized flus they release constantly. Constantly. They release about 4 a year, and then there's mutations in between them all, and then that's what goes around the planet. They can get rid of the flu tomorrow. They can. Who's they? Classified Medical Research and Science, and the evildoers and the illumination. They all work on creating these flus in labs. They're making them. That's the whole reason why they're even out there. And then they release them. You know, so there you are. And this is why I don't have TikTok on right now. You know, I don't have TikTok live on. Just talk like that for 2 seconds and boom, they punish you. All right, let's go. So we got a bunch of other stuff. It's really good for Epstein-Barr virus. How would you know you have Epstein-Barr? How would you ever know? That's right. For some reason, the industry is still really isn't giving these real true causes any real attention. It's insane. So people walk around sick, chronically sick all over again. Another 10 years, another 20 years. When people found the medical meme information and learned they had Epstein-Barr, it changed everything for people. Everything. It was like, oh my God, the light just shined down upon me. I actually have an answer. Let me see. What's the protocol here? Let me recover my nervous system. Let me kill off the virus. And boom, they're healing and they get out of it. People 10 years ago with the first book, 10 years ago with the first book, they just healed everything. It's a beautiful thing. Onions are good for HSV1, herpes, simplex 1, the cold sore, the virus, okay? Simplex 2. And simplex 2 is really just, you know, a name for it being in different regions, of course, and all that. But the truth is there's so many different versions of of herpes simplex. So many mutations. So many people have different varieties. So somebody can have 2 varieties of simplex, where it's doing one thing 1 minute and then it's doing another on their gum, one in their nostril. Some people have it where they break out with the herpes simplex all in their nostrils. And then a month later, 2 months, it dries up, it goes away, and then they break up on their lip, break out with one on their lip. That's 2 varieties. Most likely that's 2 varieties. That's how it works. Onions are good for that. Leukemia. Onions are good for that. So this broth is so good. Liver disease. How would anybody know they had liver disease? There's so many pre-liver disease. So much pre. You'll never know until finally you get a liver disease diagnosis and you didn't know for the last 20 years you had a liver disease in the works. Go to Organic Krush. Get the liver rescue smoothie. Get the liver rescue salad. Go in there. Treat your body to what it needs, you know. Migraines, prostate cancer, and let me make something clear right here. If I'm looking like a salesman, I'm going to go into Organic Krush to get your liver rescue smoothie. Guess what I'm getting? Zero. It's all a mission to help people. So when you go in Organic Krush and you order that healing food, there isn't a slab of that cash going to medical medium, to AW. Nothing of the sort. Nothing of the sort. Not 1 penny. So you got to keep that in mind. This isn't like AW's trying to get people to... No. It's because the people there are unbelievable people. Unbelievable people. And I'm going to introduce you to those unbelievable people there too when I'm there at the event. It's going to be really exciting. Bobby Boxer, what I love about medical medium information is that it's for everyone. I just took out some onion and cooking with you right now. What? Bobby, you're cooking with us right now? These tools are accessible to anyone from above. Unbelievable. And you're reminding me to check on mine right here. There we go. Look at that. Yes, it's got a pink color going on. Red onion, red radish. You could use purple. You can use black radish too. There we go. Amazing. Back over here, we're talking about conditions, symptoms, Lyme disease. Oh my God, the whole Lyme disease thing. What a scam that's been for so many years, for so many people. If you guys only knew, maybe you guys do, and you know medical medium information. It was never bacteria to start with. Did you know the Lyme labs never see the bacteria? I mean, how much of a scam could it ever be? I got a lot of flack. I got a lot of crap from this for years. People, you know, in the industry didn't like that I was hurting the bottom line at the labs. But no doctor, your doctor never sees any bacteria. Never. The Lyme lab never sees Borrelia, never sees, you know, Babesia, never sees Bartonella. They never see it. They can't see it. They use like an inflammatory marker test. And then they make up the name they want in there. Oh, yeah, this person's got Lyme too. Oh, yeah, this person's got Lyme too. It's a game, a sick game. It's cost a lot of people their lives throughout the years, generations now at this point. But people really are sick who get diagnosed with Lyme disease. They're not faking it. They're hurting bad with neurological conditions, neurological issues. They got HHV6, they got SIBO, they got HSV1, they got shingles, they got Epstein-Barr, they got strep, and they got toxic heavy metals, and then they get a Lyme bacteria diagnosis, the biggest scam on the planet. I've written about it in the books, information about it. It's the saddest thing ever, and they're still doing it now. Reiki with Daria. I have shared medical medium information with a friend who has Lyme, but she's also getting a lot of conflicting input from docs because the docs are told by the Lyme labs that it's Lyme bacteria, which it's not. The doctors don't take the time to learn. They do not know the Lyme lab does not see bacteria. They don't identify the strain. They don't see what kind of bacteria it is. It's an inflammatory marker test There's a lot of them out there. It's not just C-reactive protein, the ANA. It's not just those. There's a whole bunch of them, including, right, gene mutation tests as well. Those are also inflammatory markers, IgG, all of it inflammatory markers, right? And then everybody's got to play guessing games on maybe this is mold. Oh, no, maybe that's the Lyme bacteria. What a complete sham the industry is at this point. You know, it's unbelievable. It's the saddest thing. It's still sad. And it's heartbreaking because you see people go through the whole thing. Then they're doing the heavy antibiotics all over again. And then they're feeling better for a little bit because antibiotics, when they first go in, become an anti-inflammatory. They're actually anti-inflammatory. You can get quick relief from some of them, and then a month later, you're sicker than ever. They draw another 20 vials out of you. You're sicker from that, another 10 vials, another round of antibiotics, and you're like, I'm dying from Lyme disease. No. You're dying from blood draw, excessive blood draw. You're dying from, boom, too many excessive antioxidants, doxycycline, lots of doxy, and you're dying from misinformation, and you're dying, right, from all that, and you don't realize it, you got a virus. It's unbelievable. Yeah, definitely. All right, let's go into a little bit more of this. Let's leave Lyme disease, leaving the Lyme disease station. Okay, next stop, migraines. Yeah, onions are great for migraines. Migraines are neurological. People didn't know that many years ago. Doctors didn't know that. Nobody knew it. You know what migraines were diagnosed originally from? You know the whole thing with migraines? I just want to tell you guys. It was all with the hot flash thing, the whole hormonal thing. Back in the 1940s, when they said, well, women are just so hormonal, they're getting the change and everything, and they're getting the hot flashes and the menopause and everything. And they blamed all the migraines everybody had, all the women had. They blamed it with hormones. That's all. Migraines are the hormone stuff. That's all it was. Migraines are neurological. It's a neurological symptom. Why does that have anything to do with really hormones? It's a neurological symptom. Catbird Yoga Girl over there on IG. Yes, you helped me with migraines. Amazing. It matters. It matters. You getting any relief matters. It does. All right, let's move on a little bit. Ringworm, yeah, onions are great. Rosacea, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So get this, right? SIBO, the SIBO diagnosis. All right, everybody's got bad bacteria in their gut. Everybody, all kinds of stuff. E. coli, all kinds of stuff. C. diff, strep. Strep dominates, though, in people's guts. Causes the most problem in people's guts is strep. That's the one, okay? You get a SIBO diagnosis, most likely you have a strep infection in your gut, most likely, but they don't really pinpoint anything. They don't really lock anything down. And then the microbiome people think they know what they're talking about. They don't. And next thing you know, you're on 20 probiotics and you're on all these gut cleansers and you're on all this other stuff and you're just, you're just in the SIBO game. And then you're bloating and having problems and bloating. And then, if you change your diet, you knock the bloating down a little bit, and boom, it comes all the way back again. Now you're back at the doctor, SIBO all over again. Maybe now they do the antibiotics this time. It's just this constant game, musical chairs, over and over and over again. It's crazy. Power of compassion over there. Without information, I would be completely lost. God bless you. God bless you too. So glad you're using the information. I think an onion just flew right off that wooden utensil and just flew right by my head. All right. We're live. I don't know what else to say. Staph infections, styes. This is interesting. Check this out right here. And maybe you don't care. Maybe you don't care about this because who cares? Like, think about it. Like, I could go talk to somebody out there in the world and be like, I'm going to read this right here. And they would be just like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care. Ready? Onions are good for HHV10. Why would anybody care? Why would they? Onions are good for HHV11, HHV12. Those are undiscovered viruses. Undiscovered. So what SOC did was put the future ones that 50 years from now, if nukes didn't blow this whole world up by then, SOC put HHV10, V11, V12 through 16 because they don't know about HHV16, 15, 14, unless it's just adopted medical medium information in the last 15 years and they're using it now. But other than that, it's Info, and Spirit put that in here. And yeah, okay, maybe science won't be there with medical medium science. Maybe they won't be there and in 20 years or 30 years. But they've already poached so much of Info, like Epstein-Barr is the true cause of MS. That actually is medical medium info. But the point is the HHV10s, 11s, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, nobody cares. No one wants to know about those. But those will be, mark my words, they will be talked about. They will be talked about big time down the road. They will be discovered by somebody who cares. They will be seen, and people live with them and have them. All right. And 20 years from now, 30 years from now, if all's going good and nuclear plants aren't leaking and popping off, or AI didn't trigger off and send a nuke up, because basically that's what AI is most likely going to do down the road anyway. But if all's going good, they'll be talking about HHV 10 through 16. Check out the broth. Get over here. Here we are. All right. Looking good. I'm going to bring it up a little bit to a higher simmer. It's only on a low simmer, so I'm going to knock that up a little bit. That's going to taste so good. Man. All right. Let's keep on talking. All right, here, Luke Rogers. Luke, hi, how you been? Wow, Info changed my entire world. God bless you, Luke. God bless you. All right, so here we are. Let's get into some symptoms a little bit. All neurological symptoms can be helped with onions, including tingles, numbness, poor circulation, spasms, twitching, nerve pain, tightness of the chest, bad breath. Why? Why would an onion help with bad breath? Why? Onion is killing, those sulfur compounds are killing bad bacteria, unproductive fungus, yeast, and it's killing it. So boom, you know, onion will make bad breath happen. And then if you didn't eat an onion and you got bad breath, those bugs are festering and giving somebody bad breath. And then boom, you eat onion, someone's like, oh my God, that's the worst breath I've ever smelled. It's going to be a combination of the sulfur from the onion with the death of all these bugs. And the death of these bugs and the spewing acid that comes out of them, that's going to stink even more with the onion. That's why when people smell people with onion on their breath, they're like, oh my God, I can't handle it. What they're smelling is twofold. Two things. They're smelling the onion, the sulfur from the onion, right? They're smelling that, but they're also smelling the slaughter of all kinds of unproductive funguses, all kinds of different stuff, yeast, all kinds of bad bacteria. The onion's killing off that bad bacteria. And guess what? The onion doesn't kill good bacteria. It doesn't, because bad bacteria runs on a different frequency, a different charge in the bloodstream, a different charge in the gut and intestinal tract. Good bacteria runs on a different frequency, a different charge. An onion rides along and aligns itself with that charge. Onion doesn't kill good bacteria. Onion kills bad bacteria. See how it works? So you might have some bad onion breath along with a whole bunch of dead bugs, that breath, that stink coming out. Someone's going to be like, that's the worst breath in the world. Yeah, and maybe you're somebody with bad breath because you got the bugs anyway before the onion hits them. I took some celery force again before this live. I did. Don't need a nap. Dry skin, enlarged spleen, eye issues, gastritis, heartburn, hot flashes, inflammation, iron deficiency, jaw pain, jaw discomfort, joint inflammation, joint pain, knee pain, mineral deficiencies. Let's go into that a little bit. See these babies right here? Right here? High in minerals. High in minerals. How about that, right? Minerals, trace minerals. Knocks out deficiencies right here. So when you have the medical medium tool, the onion bronchial broth, you're cleaning up deficiencies, for God's sake. Deficiencies. You're cleaning them up. I mean, come on. That needs a little bit more time. I turned it up a little bit. I got it on a deeper, a little bit of a higher simmer. So we're talking about manganese. We're talking about selenium. Okay? We're talking about, some zinc in onion. So we're talking about the trace minerals. How amazing is that? Yeah. Amazing. All right, let's go. Let's keep on going, you guys. Come on, come on. Tremors. Snoring. Interesting. Snoring. When you start doing like the onion bronchial broth, you're breaking up trapped mucus that's all on the linings of the sinus cavities. You're loosening up junk and crap in your lungs that were there from your last pneumonia, from your last RSV, your last flu or cold. Or C, the only guy out there on Soch that has to call COVID C, or I still get punished to this day, and everybody else can say it they can shout the word to the cows come home. Unbelievable. Seriously, like, all right, the discrimination is like sickening. Okay, let's talk about emotional support right here, okay? Onion, emotional support. When you're dealing with chronic frustration, have you ever dealt with chronic frustration? That's why I was talking about that for a second. I knew where we were going. Anger and aggravation, whether toward other people, events, or yourself. It's critical, or institutions, or some, gaming system. Whether toward other people, events, or yourself, it's critical to bring onions into your routine. Yeah, it is. It's very important. Onions purge anger from the body. Helps to purge it. Helping to loosen up resentment, fury, vexation, and disappointment so you can be free to live your life. It does. You make this onion bronchial broth, I mean, you're going to feel better. I just cried 100 tears from those onions. Spiritual lesson. Let's go into spiritual lesson for a little bit while it's cooking up. Yep. Onions are wrongly blamed for bad breath. In fact, the opposite is true. Onions help alleviate bad breath. What's really responsible for halitosis is unproductive bacteria in the gut that rises up to the mouth. Because onions are antibacterial, they help combat this problem. So your breath becomes sweeter smelling over time after eating onions over time. Very important. Right after you eat an onion, there may be a lingering scent. This is just the onion's natural sulfur and a sign that it's doing its job. While we focus on different toothpastes, mouthwashes, breath mints as the answer for halitosis, I'd rather smell somebody's like rotten breath from putrefying food than some nasty chemical bound like breath mint crap or something, or some kind of mouthwash or something. I would rather smell like that, like bad halitosis any day, even though it's bad. I'd rather smell that any day than like some chemical bath coming out of somebody's mouth, like breath mints and whatever, all that coming out. You know what I mean? People throwing that in their mouth, chewing it up, and the stuff is just going crazy. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the onion too. All right. Very interesting. Okay. One particular condition that many people deal with these days is SIBO, which is a mystery to this day to the medical field. Onions are really good for it because it kills off strep A, strep B, and other strep groups. Now, see, that's the whole thing. Medical meme information was like, no, there are lots of strep groups way past the alphabet, way past it. And people don't realize how many different streps there really are, right? Well, onion is good for every one of them. good for every one of them, knocks them back. You got like congested sinuses all the time. Do you get styes? Do you get conjunctivitis? Do you get UTIs? Bladder infections? Kidney infections? Do you get any of that? Yeah. Strep. Kidney, bladder infections, strep. Yeast infections, strep. Well, ma'am, I think you just have a yeast infection here. Here's a little cream right here. So try this cream for your yeast infection. There's strep behind there. That's what's going on. The yeast is just like the front. The back is the strep. Working, doing all kinds of bad stuff, creating problems. So then the yeast just festers and gets out of control because the strep is breaking down the immune system in that area, and the yeast is just going crazy. Happens all the time for people. Unproductive fungus people have in their guts everywhere. They have it in their rectum, unproductive fungus. They have it between their butt cheeks, unproductive fungus that lives there. Doesn't matter how many showers they take. They go take a shower, they're washing their behind. It's not getting rid of an unproductive fungus that's kind of made a nest and has made a home between the butt cheeks. It doesn't go away just from taking some soap and washing it up. Of course you want to use soap and wash up. The point is, it doesn't get rid of that unproductive fungus that lives there. People can have fungus living like there for half their life, 1 or 2 varieties of fungus, And that's why it's important to have the medicinal foods, to know what you're doing. Onion is great. You internally eat it, orally the onion. You don't take a slab of onion and put it between your butt cheeks. You don't do that. You eat the onion. Very important, okay? So very, very important. All right, grab my little book holder for a second here. There we go. Let's go check things out. We're going over here. Here we are. You don't stick a slab of onion between your butt cheek. Try to kill fungus. A lot of people have itchy butts. But what you do is you eat the onion in different ways. Some sweet onion on a salad. Right? The problem is people eat so much butter and cheese and dairy, and they're feeding every single thing in them that should not be there. They're feeding the unproductive fungus. They're feeding all the different things like bacteria. They're feeding yeast. They're feeding everything. And they're doing it through eating like dairy products, and they're eating butter, and they're eating whey protein powder. And they're just, they're feeding everything in them. And then, it's just crazy how it works. All right, so we're in, by the way, I saw a couple times people say, what are you looking at? Where are you in? Expanded edition right here. Life Changing Foods, pre-order it. Why do I care about you pre-ordering it? It's already a #1 New York Times best-selling book. The original is. It's a #1 New York Times best-selling book. I mean, that's pretty incredible. Millions of copies of this went around the world. People had their lives change. I'm telling people to pre-order it, not because I'm hoping it makes the list or anything. I'm telling them to pre-order it because they may not be able to get one, because then they'll be out of stock. And they could be out of stock for a while. That's just the way it works. It hit the #1 New York Times list, this book right here. Okay? That's how incredible this book is. And so, but I'm saying, get a pre-order going. Go to Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, wherever you want to go, but get a pre-order down so that you locked it down. You're not going to be disappointed with this book. It's almost like 600 pages, and it's packed. Medical medium books are heavy with information. They're big books, and they're jam-packed. I mean, it's insane. I'm going to walk over here. I'm just going to grab a medical medium book really quick right here, okay? This is Medical Medium Brain Saver Protocols, all right? Look at that right there, Brain Saver Protocols. There it is, packed with information. A lot of pages. Every line is helpful. Heavy metal detox cleanse, everything is in here. What a great, great book. medical medium books are life-saving tools. This is no exception. I think that's the way you say it, right? Or did I say it backwards? Either way, I would pre-order this book right here if you can. Let's go make sure that our broth is getting there, because, you know, we'll see. Take a look here. Radishes. Who simmers radishes? I'm sure people do. How about simmering these three ingredients together? How about the herb, celery? How about the radish? Basically, they work. There we go. There we go. Systematically, they work together. And the onion. Pop the lid on it. We're going to taste it in a little bit. Keep that heat going. Pre-ordered? Break it with Daria? Amazing. So glad. You pre-ordered yours? Jane Moore? Amazing. I'm so glad, because now you guys aren't going to have to worry. And the other thing with pre-ordering it, I'm just going to say this for the people that, you know, I don't want to pay for it and not get the book. No, I mean, I don't think Amazon even charges until it's shipped. You'll get the book, then they'll charge you. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Can radishes be frozen? They can be. They can. If you can't get a fresh radish, you have frozen radishes, use it. Absolutely. Okay? Amazing. You love the bronchitis broth? Fantastic, Lee T. All right, you guys. So check this out when you get a chance. This is the book. We're talking about onions. We're talking about what the bronchial broth is good for. We're cutting into a lot of symptoms and conditions. If you use the medical medium information in such a way, what it can do for you. Like, what it can do for you. Look, there's dabblers out there in the medical medium community. I'm honored to have them here. I do not judge. I do not judge. I do not shame. Anybody who's even doing celery juice, for God's sake, they're doing celery juice. God bless them. Okay? If they're eating chocolate and they're drinking coffee and now they're eating some other junk, they're doing all the creatine crap, they're doing all the L-carnitine crap and the you know, whatever, whey protein powder and all the other stuff that's actually not good for you. They're doing all these things and they're breaking their immune systems down. And if they could just do celery juice, I commend them. I really, truly do. I support them. If they're eating chocolate left and right, they're eating ice cream when they want to eat ice cream, they're eating pizza that's not like a good pizza, and they're eating the things that they're eating, but they're still doing celery juice or something, thank you for doing that. Just when you ain't feeling good, just when you ain't feeling right, and you don't feel good, your symptoms are coming back or coming worse, don't be like, I tried medical medium, I did medical medium. Did you really do medical medium? It takes time to go through the information, the protocols, the different like healing protocols, the mono cleanse, the 369 cleanses, the advanced cleanse, the HMD heavy metal detoxes, right? All of it. It's a lot of stuff. And you can take one thing at a time. Let me start doing this. Maybe you got metals. I'm reading about what metals cause in the medical medium books. Then I can try this. Then I can try that. Don't just try like one thing, two things, or three things. And while you're doing all this other bad stuff, wake up one morning, that medical medium, it didn't get me better. You know, make sure you bring this stuff in and you work on your healing process and bring it to your doctor right when you get your LCF. Right? Expanded edition. Go right to your doctor. Be like, look, check this out. Can I be on this with whatever you're giving me, doctor? You're giving me medications. Can I be on this with thyroid medication? Can I be on this? Take your medical medium books to the doctor. You know, can I do this? You know? Absolutely. You crave the LWCJ juice, HMDS, LR smoothie. Amazing. Amazing. You guys, I'm really proud of you. You guys, let's talk about some comments in a little while too. We're going to go to the table in a couple of minutes with some healing broth. I might have it. You can do a couple different things with that healing broth. You can strain it. You can strain it. You can also cook it nice and soft, nice and good, and you can have it as a broth with bits and pieces of onion, bits and pieces of radish in there. You can do that as well. I know it's simmering now. I'm going to take a look and see what's going on. Let me put a little bit in a bowl. How about that? If you don't mind, okay? Yeah. I read you guys the emotional section already. Read you guys the spiritual section already. All right. Just Elaine, we haven't had a protein robot in a while. Well, you know what I got to do? I got to get that protein robot. Like that metal outfit. It was all made out of metal. Remember that? I got to get that, out of the garage. We'll do a proper, official protein robot one day, okay? Official. Let's talk about protein, though, too. We should do that for a couple of minutes. All right. Have you not noticed, or have you noticed, that there's an obsession about protein more than there ever has ever been before? Everybody gets more than enough protein, and then some. There's people that get protein every day of every single week of every single month of their lives, and they still die, and they still get sick, and they still got everything wrong, and it all goes south. Protein is not what heals us. It's not what we're made out of. It's another mistake that happens too. I think what happened is protein just, became this whole thing that was geared specifically for a certain industry back in the day. I've talked about the details in this before. And protein is something everybody gets. I think the first thing that happens when people become plant-based is they have to convince themselves they're getting enough protein. Have you seen that before? Somebody becomes plant-based, they have to convince themselves they're getting enough protein. They have to convince themselves. That's like, I'm only going to be plant-based or a vegan if I can convince myself in some way, some shape, that I'm getting enough protein, right? Medical meme community, both, by the way, is about 75% animal-based, 25% plant-based, I think, somewhere around there, like that. Because you can be animal-based, a word medical medium originally was using way back, and what they used to be called were meat eaters. Do you guys remember that? I don't mean to throw us off into a different lane right now, but do you remember you were either a vegan or a meat eater? Do you guys remember? And then plant-based came along. You were either plant-based or vegan or vegetarian or a meat eater. Do you remember that? Meat eaters? Everybody was a meat eater. There was no animal-based. You remember that? You guys, am I going crazy right here? Or am I the only person that remembered this? You were either a meat eater or you were a vegetarian. That's actually really what it was. Going all the way back to decades ago, meat eater or vegetarian, okay? It was either that, right? It wasn't animal-based. Medical medium books were saying animal-based. Medical medium information was saying animal-based. And just recently, I just saw some influencer, I think a carnivore influencer, was like, animal-based. Like, yeah, well, you just became carnivore 3.5 years ago. You don't know why people are sick. But go ahead, use the animal-based word, because guess what? When you were a little kid, it was meat eater. Everybody was a meat eater. That's what it was. All right, I'm just going to test this out a little bit, see if it's nice and ready, and I think it is. Let me get a spoon. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'm going to put a little bit more in here, and I'm going to head to the table. That's what's going to happen. Let's get some more here. All these people that eat protein in various ways, many different shapes and sizes, they go to their doctor and the doctor says, you're protein deficient. Okay? There's a lot of people, I'm just putting this down for a second. I'm going to look for a utensil of some kind. I think I might go with a regular spoon. Animal-based is an original medical medium term going many years back. 37 years back, I think. 37 years ago. What were you doing 37 years ago? Okay? So animal-based is what it was. I put it in the books. I lectured about it, I talked about it. Animal-based, right? Plant-based, animal-based. Vegan or animal-based, right? Because it was annoying me, going all the way back many years ago, that it was either vegan, vegetarian, or meat eater. Like it didn't make a lot of that's the only way it went. You're a meat eater, right? So I was like, no, you're animal based. That's what it is. Big part of the medical medium community is animal based people that are using the healing tools to heal while they're animal based. I support plant based, vegan. They can use the medical medium tools and they can heal. If a person who's plant-based does the shittiest plant-based thing they've ever done in their life, they're following the worst vegan people on the planet. They're eating all the wrong crap, the high-fat vegan crap to the tilt. Like, they're just eating all the worst. They're still getting enough protein. But if a vegan person, plant-based person, who's doing it wrong, and they go to their doctor because they're sick, and they're doing it wrong, they're still getting enough protein, but their doctor will be like, you're plant-based, you're vegan, you're not getting enough protein. That's why you're sick. It's because you're not getting enough protein. And the person panics, and they're back on all this crap. Dairy, they're back on meat, they're back on chicken, whatever they want, lamb, they're back on pork, back on bacon. Remember the bacon thing, right? You know how many practitioners, like chiropractors and different kinds of practitioners and functional doctors and all that, we're like getting their people to eat nothing but bacon 3 times a day, just eating bacon 3 times a day. Can you imagine? Anyway, even if you do the worst rendition of a vegan diet, which most people do out there, unless you're doing medical medium vegan, medical medium plant-based, and doing it right so they can heal because they'll know why they're sick and so they can heal and be plant-based. If they're doing the worst rendition of plant-based, the worst rendition of vegan, they still get enough protein. They still get enough protein. Everybody gets enough protein unless you're just on a stripped down white rice, stripped down, just, bleach, sugar diet somewhere, and you can't eat anything else but just bleached white rice that's been stripped of everything. Yeah, you'll probably at some point get protein deficient. But anybody else who's eating just whatever is getting enough protein. That's how it works. The protein thing, the protein myth, the protein obsession. And here's how it works. Like, it's just for some reason, it's like a virus. It's like so infectious. When you're young and you're an influencer and you're starting to realize, oh, I could do health stuff on social and start getting people to follow me. And you're like 22 years old or whatever, you're like 19 years old and you're like, I get enough protein, I'm getting my protein, you get your protein, and it just like takes off. And people are like, protein, 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 protein. It's insane. Meanwhile, my God, somebody with chronic fatigue syndrome, somebody that was diagnosed with Lyme disease, multiple sclerosis, ALS, or whatever you want, or just whatever symptoms, and they're suffering, they're severe chronic fatigue, and they're laying in bed. Is it really because of protein? Is protein why they're laying in bed and they're sick? Is protein why they're dying? What about all the different university students that can't even work after they're done with, university? They've graduated, or if they're lucky, they graduated while they're sick, and now they got fatigue. It's like, I'm taking a year off. And the parents are like, why are you taking a year off, honey? I'm taking a year off. I'm taking 2 years off. Because they're fatigued, they're beat up, they feel sick, they got mono, they got Epstein-Barr. It's not because of a lack of protein. You get somebody with adrenal fatigue who can't function because their adrenals are burnt out. It's not because of a lack of protein. You get somebody with some kind of condition, autoimmune disease, it's not because of lack of protein. It's absurd, it's ridiculous, it's absolutely horrendously insane. But that's how it works out there. The protein thing is out of control, and you'll see down the road, somebody will see down the road 20, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, they'll dust off some medical medium literature and they'll see MM had it right. It's always proven right anyway, all through these years in the books. And they'll see, and somebody somewhere, some institution, some industry is finally going to say protein's not why everybody is sick, a lack of protein. You really don't need that much protein. Well, you get plenty of protein. It's all going to come out like heavy duty down the road if AI didn't send off the nukes and blow up the world. All right. Anyway, always a warm and fuzzy talk. I'm going to go sit down for a little bit in a minute here. All right. I just want to remind people really quick, too. Organic Krush. They have the medical media menu in there right now. You may want to take a trip to get there, okay? You know, and you know what? I eat this strained or not strained. Let me make a strained version, possibly, okay? So, let's look around here. Nice. Look at this. Let's make a strained version, right? Okay. I'm gonna actually do it over here. Okay? All right. There we go. Let's do a little bit of a strained version. You can do different ways. You can dump the pot right through your strainer, into your strainer. I'm just gonna do it this way. I'm gonna put the incredible ingredients. Wow, this smells so good. How many of you guys had this? I'm just curious. Wow, this smells so good. How many of you guys have had this? There we go. Let's get a little bit more in there if you don't mind. There we go. Look at that. Can you see that, you guys? Come back in. Look at that right there. How good is that? Woo! You can smell the broth. I'm coming over here. I'm just going to put this at the table here. You guys don't mind? Okay? Put this right here. I'm going to bring a hand towel over there. You guys see that? I'm going to bring this as well. Let's roll. Let's roll. Let's do it. All right, here we are. We got some comments right there too. I'm going to let this cool down a little bit before I accidentally burn my tongue. Put that on my lap, okay? All right, there we go. Just leave it right there. Let this cool down a little bit. Here's the thing too, you get sick, you got like bronchitis, you got some kind of flu, you got something going on, something's, you know, you're struggling with something. Man, you can just take this, and this is medicinally how it gets into you right here, okay? You take this like this, and you just breathe it in. You can take a towel, all right? Okay? You can take a towel, and you can do this, you see this? Ah, it's so good. You see that right there? Look at that, right? Amazing. Love the color of the broth. Wow, kids, look for the healing punch. Great. It is equal amounts of ingredients? Pretty much. You know, I got to be honest, okay? When I made it, I was chopping everything up. You can do equal amount, just like the recipe calls for. You know, I was probably a little bit more heavier on the onion. I was pretty heavy on the radishes. Pretty heavy on the celery. I guess I was pretty heavy on all of it, okay? Yeah. All right, so here we are. So, I mean, you can use this in so many ways. You can just have it hot like this. You can reheat it, breathe it in. You can put a little blanket, a towel over you. You can take it into the sinuses. It enters into the cells. We're talking about manganese. We're talking about traces of zinc, selenium. I mean, it enters the body and it's healing. Magnesium, yeah, there's magnesium in here too. It's really a special combination. I mean, the amount of trace minerals alone in radish, never mind in onion, are in here. So you're breathing in these healing trace minerals, and then these phytochemical compounds and these phytochemical nutrients, these powerful healing nutrients, right? These vitamins, these macro minerals, these enzymes, these coenzymes, everything's going in you. It's incredible, really. What advice would you give to someone who has been sick for a long time and is losing hope that they can't get better? You know, the thing is here, you got to think about like all the good things that you're doing for yourself that are helping in the moment, okay? Always remember there's things that sustain the body while the body's working on its healing process. So, you know, and pick the things that feel good, that feel like they work good, and they're giving you some relief, and hold on to those while the body's doing its recovery. It's a beautiful thing. And over time, you'll start seeing the results as we go along, and bring this information to your doctor, okay? So make sure, Tara, you do that. You bring this information to your doctor. You ask your doctor, show your doctor the different tools and the different protocols and see what your doctor says. Your doctor might be happy with one thing, might be happy with another, might want to use one thing. And, and any kind of support is so helpful from your practitioner and so forth. So I'm looking at the different comments right here. I got IG up. I got all kinds of comments everywhere. I mean, I'm going to taste this if you guys don't mind. Wow, and that's salt-free. That's salt-free. You got to be careful with too much salt. If you want to use a pinch of salt in here, if you have a family member that's like, I'm not going to have that onion broth, I'm not going to eat that onion broth, no way, it doesn't taste that great, or, like, I would rather have, some macaroni and cheese, that's what I want is macaroni and cheese. You get somebody in a family member, like a friend, that, you put a little bit of pinch of salt in there so they get a little bit of a salt lick in there, not much. You don't want to oversalt all your foods. You don't want to oversalt everything, because the salt will interfere with other minerals, other nutrients. If you're using salt that wasn't originally in the foods you're using. Right now, this is higher in salt, but it's got the sodium cluster salt. So it actually has the other sodium, the subgroup from celery, and it's got the macro sodium from celery. So what happens is when you boil celery down, you get the macro sodium mostly in here. The sodium cluster salts have to be with fresh celery juice, freshly made and all that. I mean, you still get them, but they're not going to work like they normally do when it's fresh. There's no way. But you get the macro sodium from celery. That is another winner all on its own. This is just so great. Yummy, yummy, yummy. If I had a mug, I'd drop it in. Unfortunately, I cannot stomach onions, Sela says over there on YouTube. Do you have any other suggestions how I can work up to them? Well, to begin with, do the healing, do this onion bronchial broth, this healing onion bronchial broth. Do it with just a little bit of onion, if you want. Try it with just a little bit of onion. It's like all the medical medium tools. It's like B12. You can do like 3 tiny drops of B12, not even a dropper full. You can start really small with things. I talk about it all in the books. And the same thing goes with celery juice. You can start with 2 ounces, 4 ounces. A lot of people say, I can't handle celery juice. Makes me go to the bathroom. Gives me a problem. Throws me off. And it's like, start with 2 ounces. Work yourself up. Same thing with onion, right? Start with a little piece of onion in your bronchial broth. Make it all radish and celery and just a little, homeopathically, put a little piece of onion in there. Right? Definitely. If you just got on here, you guys, right here. So pre-order, make sure, expanded edition right there. You guys see it. Onion, bronchial broth, recipe, healing tool, medical medium healing tool, came right out of here. Fantastic. So make sure you grab one if you can, seriously. Because there might not be one. Happens there, look, every time the medical medium books come out, happens every time. When the book comes out, that's it. It sells out from everybody in stock. Then the publisher has to get more. They got to print more and so forth, and they have to load more up to the whatever, Amazon or wherever else, Barnes Noble. And so if you don't, it takes time. If you want the book at the right time, that's working for you. If you need it, then make sure you pre-order it so that right time comes. You get a flu, you get a cold, you have a condition you want to deal with, that you want to work with. You're tired of managing a symptom. Now you want to heal a symptom. You want to know what to do with foods. You want to work with the right foods. Then that's what you do, So I'm going to have it with the ingredients in here, if you don't mind. This is so freaking good. It's just so good. Have it either way. You can also just sip around the stuff. Look, sip around the ingredients and just do this. Because there's plenty here. Oh God, I needed this. I've been talking a lot, not just with these lives. I've been talking a lot lately each day. I've been working really hard, and I've had to engage lot of conversations, having to talk a lot, right? And this like hits, God, it hits the right spot. So good. I'm just gonna kick back. Definitely. All right, so let's see. It's great for anybody with a breathing disease. It's great for anybody. I mean, ask your doctor if you got asthma or something like that. Can you use this? Is it okay? Can you use this? So you can do that. Ask your practitioner, your healthcare provider. Can I use this bronchial broth for my breathing disease or my breathing condition? So good. I mean, honestly, it's best in a mug. It's really good in a mug. And that's what you can do. And you can just sip it from a mug. That's the best way. It's the way I like it. I just, you know, I don't want to go and grab one really quick. So, I'm reading comments right here. You guys, they're flipping by. Okay. Can you add nutritional yeast to this broth? Okay. So, Lady Lee, you can do what you want. You can add, yes, you can add it. But I say, no, don't. I wouldn't. It's not meant for it. Nutritional yeast shouldn't be in it. Of course you can. It's your life, your health. You like nutritional yeast? Nutritional yeasters, that's what I call them. They'll put it in everything and anything. Maybe that's why you're asking, because you put it on everything. Put it on your tofu scrambler. You put it on your eggs. You put it on you put it in your smoothies. You put it on your mac and cheese. You put it on whatever. I'm just saying that, and maybe you don't do any of that. The point is you can put nutritional yeast in here, but I would never put nutritional yeast in here if you know medical medium information, and maybe you don't know like a lot of different pieces of medical medium. There's so much information. If you go to my nutritional yeast podcast episode, medical medium podcast at Apple, right? Or Spotify, if you go there and you look for the nutritional yeast one, you might want to listen to that so you can learn that nutritional yeast is so bad for you. It's so bad for you, you know? Unless your doctor wants you on nutritional yeast, and he wants you on nutritional yeast, be my guest. Let the doctor speak. Let the doctor do his protocol. And nutritional yeast it is. And you'll be on it. Me wouldn't go near it with a 100-foot pole. Would not even let the stuff touch my lips. That stuff is some gnarly stuff. So no, don't put it in here. I wouldn't, you know. Anyway. God, it's so good with the celery because it brings that macro sodium, like a healing one, versus pounding it with salt from faraway lands. Tom Jensen, speaking of protein, my son is preparing for his marathon. And he's been eating only CCC. Wait a minute, what? CCC? You know medical medium information, Tom? You actually know medical medium information. Once again, yeah, it blows my mind. I mean, I haven't talked about CCC in a long time. Critically clean carbohydrates. He's been eating only CCC, critically clean carbohydrates, and he was not even sore after his long run, and I'll tell you why. That lactic acid, it wasn't built up in the muscle like it does when all that, like the protein sitting in the kidneys, the protein rotting in the gut, the protein and the fat in the bloodstream, all of it, protein and fat sitting there. And what happens is lactic acid, right? The acids, all the poisons and toxins that are produced from muscles being used or are just going to muscles because blood's going to muscles because the muscles are being used. There's that whole thing too, because that happens as well. Not just because muscles are being used, because blood is rushing to muscles. And what happens is all that junk, all the toxins that end up in the blood, because you're working out, it's going all to the muscle. Next thing you know you're sore more than you should be. You're more inflamed more than you should be. You're hurting more than you should be. You do CCC and you're not feeling it. Pretty amazing. I'm going back and forth. I'm rotating if you guys don't mind. That's right. Oh, Lucas over here. What is that, IG? Lucas says, can chicken be included? Don't let Dr. Nesbitt know you said that. God forbid. Dr. Nesbitt is sitting on a chair over here, and he's watching. And no, chicken should not be included. It's an onion bronchial broth, not a chicken broth. Okay. It's not like I have all this stuff against chickens. It's not it. I mean, you like chicken, you like chicken. But you have to understand something. That chicken fat that goes in your onion bronchial, if you actually do chicken fat in here, that chicken fat in your onion bronchial broth, right? What it does is it inhibits like the phytochemical compounds, the medicine from getting to the right places. You got all this chicken fat going through your bloodstream. So it's like, I just put a whole bunch of chicken in here. Now I got a chicken broth. You know, one of the, maybe, you know, this is the last straw and this is going to break the camel's back or something like that. Or whatever. But you don't get antibiotic, like, assistance from chicken broth. From the chicken. The chicken's not giving you, like, antibiotics. It's not giving you medicine in your broth. It's not how it works. It was the onions in the chicken soup that helped people. It was the carrots. It was the onions, the celery root. You know, big old celery root that's really not celery, but the big old celery root. It was the, you know, turnips. Because everybody, every grandma, everybody, you know, grandmother around the world made their chicken soup differently. It was all of that, you know? Wasn't the chicken. That was the medicine. I got nothing against chicken. Eat it if you want. Eat it medical medium style. Make sure you do the medical medium tools. But no, this tool is chickenless. Amazing. You guys, I love you. I am going to go. This is a great live. Check out Organic Krush, please, when you get a chance. You guys are amazing. Onward and upward. I love you guys greatly. This has been an incredible day. We did it. Check out the book when you get a chance. And let's keep on doing these lives. All right. Many blessings. God bless you. No, I'm with you guys.